Now, according to statistics, this is one of the most challenging and fearful the fear of public speaking is one of the things that most people fear the most. And this normally comes from a silly thing that happened in the past, maybe as in primary school or in a family dinner, and you said something and people turned to you and they laughed and you felt like a fool. You can't perhaps remember the moment, or maybe you can remember it very crystal clear, that specific moment of when that happened. So it's absolutely normal. So what you're feeling is okay. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to practice on techniques that you can overcome to help you move forward. So my name is Lynn Erasmus, and I'm the founder of Symbol. So Symbol is the host of this training session, and I'm a professional keynote speaker. So I do this for a living, and I do understand the struggles and the fears. When I started out, and you will see later on, I wasn't so comfortable with it in the beginning either. So it just takes practice. It's like, think of it as riding a bicycle. The more you practice, the better you become at it. So first thing we're going to look at, what do these two role models have in common? This beautiful woman, Lady Michelle Georgina Monet. I don't know if any one of you know her. She's a local Glasgow-born businesswoman. And Richard Branson. No, I don't think a lot of people need introduction on this famous person. So who wants to tell me what they think do they have in common?
Successful business people.
Yes, that's correct. What else? Ayush, do you want to share?
Well, I haven't actually known intricately the lady in the first frame, but as far as Richard Branson is concerned, he's definitely a really inspiring personality. And the Virgin Airlines, it's world renowned.
Okay.
He's a great inspiration.
Yes, he's inspiring. They both are very inspiring, and they both are very charismatic. So the secret to their success is speaking with confidence. And that is just a skill, like any other skill. You can also learn this. Okay. So the first rule we have, now I'm not a big fan of rules. I like breaking the rules, but in this instant for today, I'm going to be moderate and pretend that I like rules. So the first rule is to control your voice. And how you do that is breathing through your diaphragm. Now, this is your diaphragm here. Okay, so most of us speak here. We breathe through our chest, but this, if you can start by breathing through your stomach. So I want you just to close your eyes. Just sit comfortably and just feel, put your hand on your stomach and feel where your breath comes in. Where do you breathe in from? Would anyone like to share? Where did they feel their breath come from?
I'm probably more in my chest area than I am actually from my diaphragm.
Yes. Yes, correct. That's unfortunately, with society, we forgot how to breathe because we are so busy, and also the clothes that we wear is constrictive, so it doesn't actually doesn't look good, especially if we like our food. We tend to tuck in our tummies, so we just breathe shallow little breaths here in our chest instead of from our diaphragm. And the best way is to do from your stomach, all the way from the bottom in. So I want you just to try again. Just hold your hand over your stomach, and I want you to practice to breathe in from your stomach and not from your chest. Did you feel it was a bit fuller? Did you feel your breath was a bit fuller, more clear, not so clunky and short little bouts that you would have had if you just breathe from your chest? The second rule we have is to control your body language. Now, this is a fascinating study. The people that study the body language, they have done thousands and thousands of research, and they found 9 out of 10 times people look at your body language, not at what you're actually saying. So what you're saying with your mouth, the words that come out of your mouth, does not hold as much weight as what your body language is giving away. So there are currently 97 different cues that we give off on a daily basis per second. And that's, I don't know if you've ever heard that someone can make an impression from you. They can say what kind of person you are within the first second that they met you. Within 1 second. That is just crazy. But if you think about it, where does our ancestors come from? Back in the good old days, in the cave dwelling days, centuries ago, we didn't really have the power of words. We would be alert. We would communicate with each other with blinks of eyes and watch how people's hands are used, or how their feet are used, the body language. Everything would have a very specific communication. And that is how we communicated back in the day. We didn't have actual words, which conflicts everything else. So the words are almost as a way to hide what we are truly trying to say. So if you can learn to study people and their true intentions with their body language, you will have a far better understanding of what they are trying to say, and you will be able to communicate better the message that you are trying to say. So I want to give a little example here. So according to research, there are 2 things that people want to know about you before they commit to you, before they hire you, before they do business with you. Anything can also be in relationships. The first thing is warmth. They want to see that you are a person of warmth, and
Pardon? Would you pardon?
Like warm, like you're a warm person, WARM.
All right.
Person. And what they are finding under warmth is trust. They're looking to see if they can actually trust you. So there are very different cues that you can use in the first instance to set that tone, so that you can make the people feel comfortable, that they can trust you. So a very simple way of doing this is just to raise your hand. Just raise your hand. That's it. Raising your hand tells someone that you've got nothing to hide. That's it. So if you're on a Zoom call, or even if you're walking into a meeting room, just raise your hand and see, and start watching around you, those who raise their hands and those who don't. See the difference of how they are responded to. I will send you the link of a woman who does this in a professional capacity, and they studied the Shark Tank series. So all the participants who went to go pitch in Shark Tank, and they studied their behavioral cues, and as to see who's going to get funded and who's not going to. And 90% of the time had the same respondents, the same thing happened. So one was just simply raising your hand. The second thing that they are looking for after warmth, after they realize that you are warm enough, that you are likable, that you are trustworthy, is credibility. They want to know that you can get the job done. So a lot of people might focus a lot more on the warmth. So friendly, a smile, waving hand, sending warm regards, a little warm introduction, etc. But they forget about the credibility part as to why people would actually respond to your email or request or meeting, whatever it is. They want to know that you can do the job that you said you're going to do. So you've created a bit of trust. So now the next part is to show them that you can actually do it. So they want to feel safe, that you can push, that you can pull them through on the other side. So for instance, I am a naturally very warm person, and perhaps I can be seen as too warm and too playful. So that's my natural personality. So I've got no problem getting the first part right. My second part is to assure them that they're in safe hands, that I actually can do what I said I'm going to do. I can commit, I can follow through, I can deliver the results that they are looking for. So what I needed to do, and I don't know if you can notice in my background, I put some books there to show them that I read. I read a lot, like a lot. I've put up one of my awards certificates, one that I'm very proud of. So if someone would want to ask, I can say, oh yeah, this is actually one of my first awards I ever received, and it's something that's very dear to me. It was quite an important competition that I put myself out, and it transformed my business getting this award. So I keep my plant because don't want to show them a completely different personality. I am who I am. It's being authentic, but also having that subtle little cues in the background so that they can know that you are trustworthy and can commit and follow through. Your picture is also very important. You need to be able to see clearly. So they want to see your face. So just be aware of that when you go for interviews or having a conversation with people on Zoom. Make sure that there's ample light so that you are seen very clearly. Okay, so now we're going to rule number or step number 1 in the body language section. So when you present on stage, so say for instance, you've got a beautiful project that you would like to get funding for, or you would like this person to join your organization, or whatever the case is, just make sure that your shoulders are back. So it's chest out, shoulders back, stomach in, and your head is up. So your head is straight up. So I want you to feel the difference of when you sat like this and you spoke versus to when you put your shoulders back and your chest up and you lift your head just a little bit. How much more confident don't you feel? It's instant. It's instantaneously that they've proven this just by putting your shoulders back. And obviously I'm not standing up right now, but when you stand, just stand up straight. Very important thing, and I will go into a little bit more detail, is to plant your feet. Especially us as women, we tend to cross our feet or lean on a table when we speak to someone at a networking event. Don't do that. They want to see that you can stand on your own 2 feet, that you are credible, that you can actually deliver the work that you set yourself up to do. The second step. Now, this is a fun little one, and my daughter did this the other day. She did a competition, a gymnastics competition, and she's 8 years old, and she's very shy, very, very shy. And she actually didn't want to do that. So I said, when she said, I'm very scared. I've got, my nerves are in my stomach. I'm not feeling good. I said, okay, let's just try this. It's just for fun. We're just going to have a bit of fun here. Nothing serious. No one's watching. Just look around, see no one's watching us. Just put your hands above you, and I want you to try this out. Just go, yeah, yeah, just try it. Just put your hands above you. Now it works. Shanghai, you must you want to give it a try? Just put your hands above you. Just say, yeah. Like this. It raises instantaneously a dopamine in your body. Instantaneous. So you have probably not done it 100% now because you're on screen and you're not feeling 100% comfortable with it. But I would like to challenge you when you get off this call to go to the bathroom mirror or any mirror that you are safe in and just do that. and you just instantaneously, it just kicks up. It's the whole blood of how your, I don't exactly know how it works, but it's the blood and the hormones, everything just get kicked in. And here in your frontal core, you just get this hit of dopamine where you feel confident and you feel more in control of the situation. So when you know that you've got a difficult conversation that you're going to have in the next 5 minutes, get yourself to the bathroom and just go and do that little shake and walk out as if nothing happened. No one needs to know. No one needs to see what you've done. It's our little secret. Okay. So this is step number 3 is planting your feet. I cannot stress to you how important this is. And since I've learned this, I started looking around the room to the people who don't do it. And there's a clear distinction of those who look uncomfortable and who is not the most drawn to person in the room. So those who plant their feet, and the men like to put their hands on their hips. Women don't tend to do that, and that's fine. You don't need to. But as long as your feet are planted next to each other, it also instantaneously give you that confidence, that boost. Both my feet is on the ground. It's grounded. I am strong. I am powerful. With your shoulders back, head a little bit tilted forward. It just gives you that little bit of a boost that you need. Yeah. So when we talk about body language, I want you to start being aware of the facial expressions that you have. So what you can do is perhaps you can do a recording of maybe something that you feel passionate about, or you can maybe read something out on screen, record yourself and look at your facial expression. So I want you to start being aware of how big is your smile? Do you show teeth? Do you show open mouth? So how big is your smile? Do you smile? Can you smile more? It's just a muscle, and it also has been proven by neuroscientists that just lifting your corners of your mouth slightly like this instantly make you feel more positive. We've got all these fantastic tools at our disposal. It's absolutely for free. You can use it today. All these tools. Eyes are very important. So this, what do you think I'm saying with this? What do you think I'm feeling right now?
Be a wee bit unsure, or even a wee bit annoyed, I think, sometimes when you see people that stare in those eyebrows. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Ayosh?
In my opinion, you seem passionate.
I seem passionate. Okay.
In my opinion.
Yes, it's a form of, because it shows a little bit of anger. It's a mix of anger, fear. So you get this where it's, a little bit crossed over. It's the white parts that you see. So if you show too much white and your eyeballs are wide open, you look fearful and uncertain. So you don't look that you know what you're talking about. But if you do it like this, you can see my eyebrows crossed a little bit, and that's maybe, Irish, what you were talking about. It's passionate. I'm excited. But some people can also construe it as anger. So be aware of your facial expression. Now, apparently, who knows the blue steel look? Has anyone heard the blue steel look? No? It's a movie. Oh my gosh, I will share it with you. It's a Ben Stiller movie, and he's got the blue steel. So it's not 100% that look, but it's this. So when you cross your eyes and your eyebrows go a little bit in and your eyes get squinted, you look focused. When you look focused, this is apparently the most attractive look for anyone. So if you're sitting in a restaurant or a bar and you want to attract that other person, just go in the blue steel mode and look all serious and smoldering. Apparently, it's the most wanted look. No, it's not just in the in a sexual context, but also in a confident context. So people who look like this think that they are serious thinkers. They give it some serious consideration. They think about what they're saying and they listen to you. They can truly hear you. And what do we all want as human beings?
Attention.
Sorry? Attention,
Attention.
yes. Attention. We want people to give us attention. We want to be heard. We want to feel appreciated. So if you give someone who look like that, go and talk to that person, try and see, maybe give them some of that look. There is fascinating. There's so many other different options you can try. And it's about gentle, subtle touches on the wrist, the back of the shoulder. It's a power display. And there was a fantastic video that was played by, it was two presidents. I think it was the Canadian, no, the French president, Macron, and Donald Trump. And all they did, it was actually a big joke, because all you see is them just tapping each other behind the shoulder. So the one just gives them a tap, and then the other one gives them a tap, and the other one gives them a tap, and then a tap. So they just keep tapping each other on the shoulder. So it's like, it was a dominance thing. They wanted to see who can tap last. So the one who tapped last was supposed to be the winner. Donald actually won, of course. He's over dominating. So there's such subtle little tricks that you can use to break the wall. So if you meet with someone who is just staring at you, they don't want to talk to you. They just say, oh, that's a nice watch, or whatever you want to say, or just that's not obvious. You'll have to go and practice this, but just touch the person's wrist. Don't go any other part of the body. It is too intimate, and it is invasive. So this is something you have to practice on someone that you know, so that you can feel what feels appropriate. And it's just a gentle touch. It's not slapping them, and it's not lingering there. It's just a tap. It's literally just a tap, and it instantaneously break down that barrier that person held against you. Now, sometimes 1 or 2 is not going to do it, and you have to do it 4 or 5 times. But again, that's for advanced stages. That's for when you've got all these other kind of cues down to a T. So be aware of how you hold yourself, where you're looking. Do you look confident with your eyes, or are you looking like a deer stuck in a headlight? Be aware of those kind of things. How do you use your hands? Is it an open? Is it dominant? Is it pointing? Or can you maybe, if you feel like you're a pointer, you like to point your fingers at people, what you can just do is transform it to this, just thumb on the fingers, and just go like that. This, if you put your hands down, means final. This is what we're going to do. If you want to make a point in a room, and it's a really good point, and you want people to focus on it, put your hand down. This is what we're going to focus on today. Also be aware of your words, which we'll come to a little bit later, but using positive affirmations in the wording that you want them to achieve, not the negative. So you're not going to say, today we're not going to fail. You're going to say, today we are going to succeed, for instance. Okay. Okay, what have we got next? Delivery is everything. Rule number 3. Now, what do you mean by that? Shangao, this is for you. Delivery. When you speak to people, learn to speak slowly and just breathe. There's nothing more powerful than a pause. Nothing. When you can hold the whole room in your hands, you're just about to say something important, and then you deliver. It's magic. It's magic, and I want you to try and focus on that. If you're a fast speaker, try and just the planting of the feet really helps, and the shoulders back helps, because it's something different for you to focus on. Because when we are speaking to someone, we tend to move around and move our feet here, and our fingers are here, and our hands are here. If you just keep on focusing, shoulders back, feet planted, breathing from the diaphragm, you automatically start speaking slower. People can hear you, and those that speak slow, not like this slow, but just at a normal pace, but a little bit more slowly, they are generally taken more seriously, because it's almost as if they weigh every single word, and they want you to know that every word that they give you is of worth. So people tend to listen to them better. Then the pause. I love the pause. I've not got it down to a T, so this is something I've been practicing on this year. I'm just too excited, and I just want to get it out, and I have to constantly remind myself, pause. Just pause. So there are numerous examples of people who delivered the most impactful speeches, and it was all down to this thing, just pausing between ideas. So what also happens, especially when we do public speaking, we tend to overload the people. We give them too much information. And the human brain doesn't have the capacity to take everything in and utilize all that information. So I've given you all this information, and now it's the next thing, and it's the next thing, and it's the next thing. There's no time just to breathe. Sit with that information, just allow them that space, that mental capacity to breathe between the spaces, so that they can actually hear you when you move on to the next point that you are trying to make. Who uses filler words? To you, what is your favorite filler word?
It is
Which one?
the typical UH.
Yes, yes. Have you got a filler word, Christina?
I think I probably use M quite a lot. So
Yep.
do you know how you start a sentence and then it's
Yes.
M before
Yes.
so I'm really conscious of that now though, so I try not to do that.
Okay, and what do you do instead?
Try and just stop, like you're saying, and breathe and just pause.
Yes.
Not go into that kind of because I think that makes you look like you don't really know what you're talking about as well.
100%. 100%. Shangao, do you use fillers? Filler words. Filler words is those no, maybe, and then do you have something that if you are unsure about something, you use a sound or a word?
If I'm already prepared, it can be avoided easily, but not really prepared presentation, I need to thinking sometimes, and it may be hard to remove.
Yes. I noticed that the first time I met you, you're actually very good. You're one of the very rare people I've met who don't have a lot of filler words. So I can see that you carefully think of every word that you say, and you breathe before you say the next thing. And especially for people like us who have accents, it's hard for other people to hear us if we use filler words in between. It's so difficult. So that is one of your top secrets that you have perfected, Shangao. So that's something you should be very proud of yourself, and just keep honing in on that and just keep chipping it away. I like to think of it as editing. I edit my words. Oh, hello, Jenny. Sorry. Do you have filler words?
Yeah, I just did it. So I use and sometimes I use the word like a lot.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, those are
Is
my
there
two.
is there something that you think that you would like to replace it with?
I don't know.
Or just the breathing?
Yeah, probably just the breathing and just like taking a pause and thinking.
Mm,
I've been
mm.
trying to do better on like not saying like or like I
Well
just
done. Good. Well, that was a good try. Well done. And it's just so important to be aware of it so that you know what to watch out for, and then just to breathe and then say, continue the conversation. That was good. And it just takes practice. I'm going to, I still do it. So everyone, it's not perfect. No one's perfect. I'm going to give you a little challenge. When you do a word, I'm going to give you a challenge to search, no, not search, write an article. Okay, so think of any topic that you are passionate about. So you can write on any topic that you're passionate about. It can be maybe 200 words. Then I want you to whittle down that article down to 50 words. So from 200 words, write that same concept, you've sharpened it down to 50 words. So you've cut it down by 3/4. And that will just help train your mind to see how many filler words do we use, unnecessary words do we use to make a point. So that's the purpose of this, is to help you to get clarity on the idea, the concept that you are trying to relay to the person, whatever situation you're in. So think of, yes?
Does unnecessary jargon constitute filler words?
Yes, correct. There are so many different kinds of filler words, like Jenny was saying, like, I'm like, I use, there are people who use, for instance. So instead of saying the word, they just say, for instance, for example, and then they will think it's got nothing to do with what they want to say, but it was just a filler word. They were trying to fill the space with words. Okay. So carefully articulating and pronouncing your words. This is something I've been practicing since I was 5 years old. I'm from South Africa, and my language, my mother language is Afrikaans. So English is my second language. And in South Africa, where I lived, there was a big, almost like a racism against Afrikaans people. So the English was looking down on the Afrikaans people, and the Afrikaans people didn't like the English people so much either. So there was not just racism with color in South Africa, but there were also racism with language within your own group, even in the different tribes in South Africa, there's different racism in there. So for me to combat that, I would try and hide that I was Afrikaans. So I would focus 100% on pronouncing my words, my English words, without giving my accent away. So Afrikaans is a very guttural, flat language. So we sound, you can clearly hear when an Afrikaans person speak English and versus an English person speak English. So this is something that I've been practicing for, I don't know, 35 years, almost 40 years. And it's still, I've actually noticed last year, December, that I started slacking down on it. Because now I live in a country where no one really cares whether I'm Afrikaans or English. I speak a different language already. I'm a foreigner. So it doesn't matter if I'm Afrikaans accent or English accent. I still sound like a foreigner. It doesn't matter. So I've actually noticed that I dropped my pronunciation, that I just speak as I am. And it was just quite a deliberating feeling to just speak with your accent. And I I heard some fabulous interviews on this very specific topic. And there was a billionaire that was Indian living in America, and he was interviewed for the Entrepreneur magazine. And he said the same thing. He said he used to try and hide his Indian accent because he didn't want to be seen as ignorant or whatever. People want to look down on him. And then, I mean, he's now a billionaire. And eventually he's like, well, I know more than most. I own more than most. I don't have to prove myself. And he said what he started doing was trying to, he had to make peace with where he came from and not see that as a shame and a negative thing, and to use that as an advantage. And since then, everything just the way, you know, his internal happiness changed because he felt more accepted of himself. He didn't feel like he needed to pretend someone that is not. And he said that made such a clear distinction in his circle. So from that day on, he was just speaking with the accent that he was, with clear confidence. And he said everything shifted from then on. And that was almost like his USP. So he was the Indian in America, and he was very proud of his accent, and we're very proud of where he came from. Things shifts once you are take ownership of where you come from and what you do. But when you speak on a professional platform, you have to revert back to this, you know, articulating and pronouncing your words properly. And even I think the Scottish people might agree with me here, Christina. The accents are sometimes quite broad, where people don't understand your accents, right?
Yeah.
So
and I think, like you said, Lynn, as well, isn't it? It depends what part you're from as well, and they could sound completely different but be like 20 miles up the road, but it's the accent can be really strong.
Yes, correct. Yes, and some people actually try and hide that. No, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. But when you're on a professional platform, or on a podcast being interviewed, or you're on a phone call and people can't hear you, breathe, just let it come naturally and pronounce those words. I pretend that every word has got a shape. So I pronounce the shape of the word. Sometimes I will go a little bit further and use my hands a lot more to articulate that specific word, just so I can make sure that the people truly understand and hear me. Because it's important, especially if you've got an important message to relay on the stage, or trying to get funders involved in your business. You have to get them involved so that they can actually hear you. What is next? Rule number 4. The audience is your best friend. This was a definite shift for me. I used to think that people don't want you to succeed when you're on the stage. So you will see shortly an example of that. But once I started looking at my audience as my best friend, everything changed. And this is also, I love research. I'm a journalist by heart. So I research everything. I want stats all the time. And this is proven that the people that you are speaking to are all vying for you. They want you to succeed, because why?
Because they don't want to endure the misery of a bad speech, probably.
Well, that's one thing, but there's actually something more humanistic, more human to this. But that is one of the things. Does anyone know?
I think it's about wanting to support you, isn't it? They're there to listen to you speaking as well. And I think there is something in that, like you're saying, that human nature that everybody wants you to succeed.
They do. They want you to succeed. They truly do. Now, the real reason why they want you to succeed is they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to feel awkward. So who of you have seen people speak on stages and you're like, you should not be there. This is bad. This is so bad. Just get off. It's bad. So it does happen. And you almost like secretly like sending them energy and saying, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Because we don't like witnessing people in awkward situations. We don't like it. We want people to succeed because it makes us feel better. That's just human nature. So as soon as you can shift that mindset when you go and speak to people, know that they actually have your best interest at heart. They want you to succeed. So all you got to do is pitch up and deliver because you've practiced, right? So this is the video, the photo. Do you want to tell me what's happening on my face expression there? So this is me in 2010. I was 31 years old here. What do you think is going on here with my face and body?
You look very serious, like you know what you're like you're very invested.
Okay, yes, I like that. Yes. Anyone else?
You look pretty engrossed in the job which you're doing.
Yes.
I would say you probably look a bit annoyed. I think that's a look as if to say, are you serious? Did you just say that?
You spotted it. That's exactly what happened. So I don't know why, I wanted to try and push myself out of my comfort zone completely. And I pitched to, I was the wild card for this Race Corp Indian Pitch and Polish, where you go on stage and you've got 20 minutes or something to pitch your new business idea to an audience that doesn't know you and has got no experience in what you're talking about. And these people, and then they can ask you questions afterwards. And they just didn't get it. And I got so angry because in my head, I was 100% explaining to them, and I didn't get why they didn't get it. I was getting really annoyed. Like, why are you asking this stupid question? You should just get it. This is something I feel really passionate about, and I know it's going to be successful. So are you getting it or not? So definitely I was not breathing from my diaphragm. I was panting here in my chest area. I was not controlling my body language. You can see my hands is ringed like this, very closed off. I'm closing myself off. I'm giving them the tilt, and I'm giving them the one eye squint like, yeah, come on, just say one more thing. I dare you, say one more thing. I did not deliver to my 100% capacity because I was a green person. I've not done this before. So this was one of my biggest audience. There was something like 2,000 people on the day, and I was not well received. And I did not think that my audience was my best friend. I felt that they wanted me to fail. So what I needed to do, I needed to, if I knew this now, what I know, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done everything completely different. I would have made sure that I acknowledge my audience, that they are my best friend. Because if they can carry me, who's heard this Lewis Capaldi? If anyone's been following him, did you see at the Glastonbury event he couldn't finish his song, and what did the audience do?
They sang for him. I love that video. It's so cute.
Isn't that the most inspiring, most beautiful thing ever? The audience carried him because he couldn't do anything further. So he knew that his audience was the most important person in the room. And there's a little secret. If you get nervous, try and find that one person in the room and speak to that one person. And I'm not saying pointing and just speaking to that one person directly, because that's awkward, especially if you don't know them. If you have the opportunity to get someone in the room that loves you and appreciate you and is always cheering on for you, get them in the room when you have to pitch your business or go and speak on the stage. I always try and get someone in the room there on my side. Even if it's a room full of strangers, I try and be there either the night before, early in the morning, first thing, so that I can speak to a couple of people, understand what they are talking about, how do they speak to me, maybe they say something to me that can make me understand their challenges and struggles a little bit better. And then I've got a friendly face. I can connect with that person. Maybe they shared something with me that I can say, would you mind if I mention this? And they'll say, sure. I mean, most people love it. But grab their attention and find that friendly face. Eye contact is so important. Now, in a lot of religions or customs, it is not, well, it's not good manners to look a person in the eye. In South Africa, the African women are not considered polite, and it's not custom for an African woman to look a man in the eye. So for them, it's good manners to keep the eyes below and just every now and again acknowledge the person when they speak, and then to look up again. And that had to be transformed. You know, once you go into the business environment and you're working with multinationals from all over the world, we had to do training with them to teach them that if you do that in your business environment, you're going to come across as dishonest. People are going to think that you are, one, lying because you can't keep eye contact, or number two, that you're so shy and uncertain that you don't actually know what you're talking about. So the deal will fall through. So it's very important to make sure that you understand your custom, and it's fine to honor your custom and tradition in your private capacity. But when you are in a business environment, it's that whole intercultural connections that you need to understand the communication, what is acceptable and what's not. Even if you make sure that if you're having a big meeting coming up with the intercultural setting, is to maybe alert either the organizers or someone in the room. If you are 100% set on this is how I do things, and I'm not going to change my custom to fit this opportunity, then perhaps make it known that in my culture, I do not look up to you in your eyes. This is just something that I don't do. That's also fine, as long as people understand why you're doing it. Okay, the audience again. If you can find an opener to grab the attention immediately, then you've set the tone. So what I try to do with most of my talks is the first instance is give it a challenge for the audience. I make them do something and I make sure that they do it. Because if you give an instruction to the audience and they don't follow through, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to trust me that I can deliver? Do you think they're going to want to listen to anything else? No, because I can't even make them do what I asked them to do. So if you do something, it takes practice. So I've never done this until a year ago. So I've only started doing this a year ago because I've only started feeling confident to do that. It's all about your voice, your volume, which we'll talk about now, to make sure that they sit up and they listen and they do what you tell them to do. And it's also using these hand languages. So if you do this, it's definite. You do what I tell you to do. It's not like this. Can you please stand up for me? No one's going to listen. So try and find, or if you can find something interesting, a beautiful fact or opening story that grabs them right from the beginning. That's always a great one. Nothing sells better than stories. And you don't want this, right? Oof. Sometimes we felt like that in the audience. Just like, oh, can this person just finish? We want this. We want engagement. We want friendly faces. Look, they're smiling. This one's squinting, so she's really focusing on what is happening there. What is this person saying? They all look happy. They sound like they're enjoying. Well, so you see what I said, sound, because you can see in their faces. Making eye contact and speaking to that one person. It just transforms. If you say, good morning, every one of you, Good morning to you. Which one sounds better? To you. Is there examples that you would like to share? No? Yeah.
Lynn, that's quite a good one, isn't it? Even saying good morning and how you say that, good morning everyone, whereas good morning to you is much more personal, isn't it, as well? So like you're saying, it's like you're trying to connect with everyone in that audience. I've never thought about that before.
Yes, yes. It's just that one person, because you're speaking to one person. So you're not going to walk into a room on a one-to-one and say, good morning, everyone. You're going to think, what are you talking about? You say, good morning to you. Oh, me. Huh. Okay, that sounds good. And if you want them to interact, tell them specifically what you want them to do. So if you've got a universal fact that you know is fact, everyone knows that this is the truth. You ask them the question, or even if you think that the majority of the room share your experience. So I did a talk for a group of women for Women's Day, and I knew, because I spoke to the audience beforehand, I knew that most of them were mothers. So I said, raise your hand if you had a child. I'm not going to say, who of you have children? Raise your hand if you have a child. Then you're going to raise your it's just human. It's how we do things. We like to listen. We like to obey. We like to please. We like to make people feel comfortable. So we just do what they tell us to do. So tell them what they must do and they will do it. Okay. So this is the voice. Everything sits here. Now, most of us speak here. When you want to deliver a truly important, beautiful fact, you can start speaking from here. The message that you bring from your chest is so much more powerful than speaking from the throat. Did you hear the difference? When you speak from your heart, when you speak from your chest, you move mountains. When you speak from your throat, things sounds different. Did you hear that difference? That was literally just from speaking from your stomach and your chest. You can feel the vibration filling through. I like to literally imagine words coming out of my mouth. It's coming out. When you can envision the words coming out, they're much more powerful. And your whole body is alight with the words that you're choosing to say. So remember the messages that you're trying to relay. So what tone of voice are you using? So there's some great examples is the tone of voice. Okay, so who of you have got a partner? Raise your hand. Okay. So when your partner says to you, or have you said this to your partner, or they have said this to you, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. Yes. It's how you say it. It's the tone of voice was clear that what you said was not the message. I'm fine, thanks. You know you must run. So be aware of your tone of voice when you say an important message. How are you saying it and how will you make those people feel? The pitches. Now, for most men, you automatically have, hands down, the competitive advantage over us as women. And that's why you will also see more male speakers, professional speakers, than female speakers. And the reason is, as women, we've got normally high-pitched voices. And it's quite annoying to listen to a high-pitched voice the whole time. It's just that little bit of
Not to a
decibels.
man.
Sorry?
Not to a man.
Say that again.
I mean, it's not really annoying to listen to a high-pitched voice for a man.
I think you're the exception, but thank you very much, Ayush. Thank you very much. For most people, it is very uncomfortable to hear someone speak in a high-pitched voice all the time.
And the same is from a low voice like this.
So it's very good if you can try and practice your voice. And as women, you've got your normal voice that you speak to your family and friends and everyone that you love. And then you've got your business voice. Who of you have got a business voice? Raise your hand. Yes, we've got a business voice. We know. My children know exactly when they walk in the room who I'm speaking on the phone. They know whether they can interrupt me or not, because I've got my business voice, or I've got my, it's family, it's friends. My family and friends, I've got a little bit of a higher pitch to it. Business. I want you to go to your decibel. That's the word. So you've got your baseline decibel that you can't go lower than this. This sounds stupid, right? This doesn't sound real. But if I speak on this decibel, it's also low, but it doesn't sound unnatural, does it? And then you've got your normal voice, and then you've got your high voice. So try and go down your decibels that is the most comfortable for you at your lowest decibel. No, you don't want to just speak at one pitch. You need to also vary your the words. Think of it as a ping pong, not musical, like high and low, but every message has got a top, and then when you finish the sentence, it's down.
But don't you think that actually altering with one's natural choice of voice, I mean, deviating from the norm, don't you think it would be counterproductive in the long run?
No, it's practice. It just takes practice. If you want to become a professional speaker and you want to do this on a permanent basis, or even just for that 1 hour when you are wanting to captivate them, you truly want them to listen to every single word that you want to deliver to them. Every single word is important. You're going to maximize every single tool that you have at your disposal. Pitch and tone and volume is just some of those tools that you can use for that 1 hour. 1 hour of storytelling, 1 hour of capturing them to make sure that you are heard. When you're sitting in a meeting and you struggle for people to listen to you, practice the lower voice, the lower tone, but that sounds natural. It must always sound natural. No, it's not going to sound like this. It's going to be a natural lower pitch at different decibels. So on the long run, not for your personal capacity, Ayush, no, it's not going to work. You will run dry. It will just be too much for you. It's fake, right? This is not fake. This is practicing. Think of it as a pitch. So you've got a very important story pitch, and this is the story that you're putting together, and it's got highs and lows, and it's got volume and depth and movement, and you want to get the whole audience on the journey. Or think of your movie, your favorite movie that you want to watch, that you enjoy watching. They're all delivering it for you in a very specific manner. They don't just pitch up and say, hey guys, this is what we're doing today. What do you think? They put in effort, they put in practice, they honed in their skill for you. It's years and years of practice. So this is the same thing that you can just practice for your audience. Volume is one of the tools that is probably the most underutilized. It is only about 10% of the population that is too high. So I would say tone down your volume. Jenny, perhaps you will know this, but in America, the Americans are much more louder. You always
Yes,
say the loudest.
We are very loud.
Same in South Africa, where also whoever's the loudest win. But if you had to try and use those same principles here in Scotland and the UK, you will get some funny looks, and then people will just start walking away from you slowly but surely. It's not going to be as welcome here. I mean, even in the business environment, yes, you want to be heard. So if you are, when you are delivering your talk, I want you just to up your volume, just 1 decibel louder. Hi, my name is Lynn Erasmus, and today I'm going to talk to you about, imagine you are filling the entire room with your voice. So look at the room around you. And I want you to sit up. I want your shoulders straight. And I want you to lift your your chin just a little bit, just like this, not up normally, but just a little bit. And then I want you to say your voice, your name. So you can either do it with practice with us so we can help you, or you can do it with your volume off. And I want you to look at the room ahead of you and say, my name is Lynn Erasmus, and today I'm going to share to you about talking with confidence. You can obviously use your own name. Do you want to go on voice or without voice?
Without, just because it's been recorded, Lynn.
Okay. Shanghai, I want you all to now just practice it. So I want you to sit up, shoulders back. Deep breath from your diaphragm. Deep breath from your diaphragm. And now you're going to say your name to the room, and I want you to imagine the whole room is filled with your voice. And I want you to use a little bit of hand language so that you can feel the energy of speaking with everything that you have. How did that feel? Were you surprised at your volume? Did it shock you a little bit? Yes? Yeah? Good. Good. I want you to get comfortable with that. So try and do it as often as possible, because it is uncomfortable hearing yourself so full of confidence. I don't know if you've ever heard the raspberry voice. Who of you sometimes get so nervous and then you forget to breathe, and then you're speaking from this, it sounds like a grater. It's literally just your diaphragm closing down on your vocal cords. So when that happens, just take a deep breath. No one needs to know that you're uncomfortable. Just take a deep breath and speak louder. Just that volume up will automatically push that energy through, that volume through, that you need to get through so that you can speak. Say you want to finish that last sentence, and now your voice is already shaking, you're already feeling very awkward. Just speak a little bit louder. It takes that shake away from your voice, because now you're speaking from your diaphragm. You're not speaking from here in your throat. Okay. Okay, some bonus tips on what you can do.
I'm
Yes?
so sorry, Lynn. I've actually got an appointment at 5 o'clock and I'm in the office at the moment.
No problem. This is it. I'm finishing.
Oh, is it? Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, this is it. It's this is it. What time is it? Oh, no. It's I've got 2 slides left.
Perfect.
So,
okay.
What else you can do? Very important. Care about your topic. If you care about your topic, then they will care about your topic too. So if you speak about something that you've been asked to talk about, make sure you put something in there that you actually truly care about. And don't forget the goal of your talk. We all have a purpose at the end of the day of why we are delivering that talk. So remember, what's the goal? Don't forget about it. Don't overkill with stats and presentations. No one wants to see a presentation filled with statistics and presentations of words that's heavy. No one is going to want to listen to you. All they're going to do is just read your presentation, not listen to you, and now they're going to sit back and forget about everything that you've said already. My favorite one, tell a story, tell a story, tell a story. So think of a story that is relevant to the fact or the point that you are trying to make. Nothing sells as quick as a story. Practice, 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 and relax. Relaxing is going to be your best friend. So this is just my QR code, which I will send to you afterwards, just of my LinkedIn tree, which you've got already, most of you. So thank you very much.